I am stepping in as the dun- dungeon master for the new campaign this season on Encounter Roleplay Brave New Worlds. And for you, the audience, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce you quickly to the campaign. So a new continent was discovered by the kingdom of Tyr Royale. It is a kingdom largely made up of humans and halflings. And this land has been known to have what appears to be fortune and power beyond measure. Ancient artifacts have been found, ruins of a lost civilization. But most importantly, it is the opportunity for Tyr Royale to secure its position as one of the leading powers of the world, for there are also rival nations who are seeking to control this new world. There's a kingdom to the south called Desalee, the Ruby Empire, and there is a fractured nation to the north known as Banner, the 12 Dragon Nations. And the sociology of this world is a little different than traditional Dungeons and Dragons. There's a deep history involving the elves and half-orcs and dragonborn and dwarves. And without getting too deep into the geopolitics, why don't we have each of the players introduce a little bit more about their character, explain how they ended up on the ship that is sailing to the Brave New World, and why that this ship, known as the Seagull, is embarking on this voyage to the New Kingdom. So let's start with Tommy again.
All right. So Lair Silvertongue, as a bard, is one to be where the action is so that he can write the next great song. And so he convinced the person in charge that he would be able to be the historian of this trip, write down what happens and bring it back and sort of glorify the kingdom's excursions and expeditions.
So let's clarify this a little bit. And to introduce the audience, I like to ask my players a lot of questions, and the questions will actually inform the story. So the person in charge that recruited you was actually the king himself. So when you were introduced to the king, would you say your meeting with him was cordial, or did it go another way?
I would say it was not easy. I think that they had thought to hire someone else as the historian. I had to be a little bit beguiling as a bard, use my natural bardic charm to get my way in. So it wasn't super cordial. No, I'm not of the typical stock of person that would normally get to meet the king.
Not at all. In fact, he actually noted when he met you, he asked who was the elf in your family. Was it the mother or the father?
It was the father. However, I don't know who my father is, so.
Right, and half-elves aren't uncommon in Tyr Royale or in the capital city of Seawall, which you can fill in on your backstory now that you know the name of the capital where you've lived.
Yeah.
And he asked you to perform a number for the court, and it was well received. And he actually provided you with a letter of recommendation that on the voyage, you would be essentially given almost diplomatic immunity on the voyage across the sea, because you are the historian, and by the books, Tyr Royale will be judged, and he wants to make sure that the story you capture and the song that you eventually sing of this tale is one befitting his rule. Now let's shift to Kiana. How did your pirate end up on the Seagull?
Well, Zara did grow up deep in the forest of Tyr Royale, and was kind of enraptured with the tales of, unknown lands beyond that many an elf has never been able to go after being shunned by society. So she went off, got herself hired onto a pirate ship, not the Seagull. Rather, this is the ship Lady Luck that she managed to get on. She was with this group for a while when this ship was mysteriously attacked, and she believes she's the only survivor she was picked up by the Seagull, rescued by them, and she'd been working with them ever since as their rigger. Managed to make a place for herself on the ship for the past few years.
Now, as an elf from the woods, you have a distinguishing physical feature. Can you describe it for the audience?
Yeah, so because of the way elves are, they do have forms of almost mutations in a way. So Zara has flower tattoos that kind of span almost every inch of her chest and her back, which seem very hyper-realistic, and they do sometimes move a little bit, almost like they're not quite normal tattoos. They're very magical in nature, and she's had them for as long as she's been alive.
Yes, in fact, she was born with them as a second. Essentially, you as an elf, your parents would have lived during the great time of tribulation. Now, what did your parents tell you about the nation of Desolate? Because you lived in the woods, and Desolate is a mountainous desert region to the south. Was there any stories that the family passed on, and why you as elves lived separate than the elven sovereignty?
Well, they would just say that it's not where people belong. We belong more where the land is able to give back, and Desolate is definitely a place where it's been ruined. And, we don't like to talk about those elves over there kind of deal. They've changed in a way that we haven't. And we should stay the way that we have even since before the big event happened.
Madam Gandalf, go ahead and let us know about Suri and how she ended up on the ship.
For Suri, she's always been on the ship. She is the illegitimate child of our dear Captain Avar. And she, do I reveal the other person? Is that cool?
You can if you would like.
Okay.
It would be out of character knowledge to the rest of the players, but it's totally all right for you to reveal your character's origin.
All right. Well, she's the illegitimate child of Captain Alvar and the Sea Queen. And so he ended up having to look after her, but he's kept her very much stowed away and protected from the world. And he noticed quite early on that she had some magical traits, and some of which he's used to help him navigate the seas and to help the ship. Others he's tried to kind of keep a little bit quelled after getting too many ideas in her head of these big, full worlds of adventure that he's trying to kind of really protect her from, despite the fact that he himself is an adventurer of sorts. And so she's been very sheltered. One of the few people that she talks to on the ship is Zira. And she doesn't really get to go up above the surface much. She's mostly kept stowed away in her little cabin with little trinkets that she has gathered from their seas, from their journeys throughout the seas.
Interesting to note that she is the daughter of the Sea Queen, and she's also been invited to be part of this search and rescue party. Now, the king had sent his 5 favored adventurers across the sea to uncover a mystery. The Kingdom of the Crown, Tir Royale, established a colony, the colony of Longmarsh. When they sent reinforcements and supplies to the colony, they found it vacant and missing, and they weren't sure what happened. So the king summoned his greatest adventurers and sent them across the sea, and none of them were heard of again without any sign or any trace. Now, Will's character, who is not on this stream, did receive a message and was summoned to assemble a crew in a privateer vessel, and they wanted the fastest ship. And with Suri's direction, the Seagull is in fact the fastest ship in the King's Navy. And they want this search and rescue to uncover what happened to these 5 favored individuals of the king and to bring them back home. If they can find out what happened to the colony, it is also of great interest to the crown, but that is in fact a subplot. So our adventure begins. You are anticipated to make landing across the sea on the beaches of Longmarsh, but there has been a disturbance on the ship. The king's investigator, Prime Inspector Lunis, has uncovered a plot and a conspiracy to overthrow the operation. He has 2 elves. They're known as the Carthage sisters, Andromedy and Stephania. He has uncovered the rose gold coins of Desalee and a journal detailing a plot to usurp the operation and cause shenanigans, for lack of a better word, to lead to the downfall of both the Seagull, and it will be seized by the Desalian Navy, and these elves, these treacherous elves, are at the root of it. Now, at sea, every man and every woman is entitled to 1 vote. If you're a member of the crew, you get your vote, and you decide what happens. The quartermaster, Gawain Goodbrew, is charged with doling out justice, but this crime happens to be high treason, and the king's inspector has pointed this out. Now, Zira, you're familiar with these 2 sisters. In fact, you find them, you find a certain kinship with them, but they've both been brought out, and the evidence is that they are in fact traitors. They're signs of a conspiracy. How did you vote in the conspiracy? Should you dole out justice, or should they be spared until a more thorough investigation is completed?
Ooh. Oh, Zara is very much a, the crew is the crew. And she, if she's been traveling with them for quite some time, she had grown, attached to them. She's a pirate, yes, but she has a bit of a soft heart for her friends. So she weighs it, and she makes the vote that, there should be a more thorough investigation in case, maybe they were pressured or something. It's very possible. And she knows also that, executing people on board tends to not be great when it comes to keeping morale up. And, with the new people on board, she's also not super happy about them quite yet, so.
Suri, how did you respond to the evidence of this treacherous plot to overthrow the crown and commandeer the Seagull and to essentially commit acts of high treason on board the ship and overthrow the crew?
Ooh.
Heavy.
There's a part of Suri that doesn't like the idea of killing anyone or handing out too much of a heavy hand of justice. But at the same time, what little she knows of this crew, they are her family. These are the only people she knows. So I feel like she would be very protective of them.
And it is important to note that this is an outsider appointed by the king who has uncovered this and is essentially bringing it to light. And he brought it to the quartermaster. Captain Alvar has abstained from the trial for now. He's actually locked in his quarters because he views the crew as family too, and he cannot comment until the end. Now, the way it has gone, every crew member has 1 vote, and it's essentially gone down the middle, and it's come down to Lair Silvertongue to decide the fate of these individuals with the rose gold coins and journals detailing a plot to overthrow the crew of the Seagull and to perform an act of essentially usurping the crown itself.
Oh boy, you don't make this easy, do you?
No. Wanted to start heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed. Well, I have to say that I'm more of a lover. I believe in life over death, and so I think Lair's gonna have to vote for keeping them alive for a more thorough inspection. It would be such a shame to lose two lovely ladies such as yourselves. And offers his services to the inspector because Lair knows he can be quite charming when he needs to be.
All right, I want you to make a charisma check, and I want you to choose between persuasion and deception which you want to use in this instance on Inspector Lunas.
All right. Oh boy, first roll. Don't fuck me, dice. Oh, not great. That's a 12.
All right. Inspector Lunas ponders the information that you've presented to him. He sort of narrows his eyes, and his eyes meet yours. He says, all right, I'm going to give you 3 hours to produce evidence to the contrary. Otherwise, they have to hang. And so I want to hear from you, and if you want to recruit members of the party, how you spend these 3 hours to prove the innocence of the Carthage sisters, Andromedy and Stephania.
Oh boy. On the spot here.
I know. It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh man. Well, I think I'd probably talk to all the crew at some point, you know, just like trying to get a feel for these two, and you know, do people really think that they would do this? And then
okay, when you talk to the crew members, do you want to start by talking to the riggers, the carpenters, the gunners, or the swabbers?
What crew was the two elves part of?
Okay, they were both riggers, like Zara.
Yep. So I guess I would start with the riggers.
Okay. So you start, and you can talk to the master rigger, Sally Andrew. She's a halfling. Mm-hmm. Or you can talk to Scruggs. It's kind of a, well, he looks just like his name sounds. A little shifty guy. Always has a toothpick that he seems to miraculously have available at all times. Mm-hmm. And then there is a female of large stature. She's got a massive build. She's strong. She's assertive. And her name is Shavara. And Shavara lets you know that although the light has dimmed in recent years, it's always present. So who would you like to speak to out of this?
I'll probably start with Sally. Talk with Sally and...
All right. Well, you approach Sally, and Sally says, you know, although elves are the most skilled at seacraft and sailing, you know, Desolate is an elven empire, and there has been a lot of signs of treason on board recently. And she says you, being skilled in song, are aware that sometimes when you're sleeping, song speaks to you. And she's had visions recently that there has been treachery harbored on board, but she can't make a call. Do you speak to any other of the riggers or crew members?
Yeah, I'll talk to Scrubs.
Okay, Scruggs. He goes, look, the Lady Elves, they've always been nice and they've always been welcome on board. They're the best at what they do. And if you haven't noticed, there's a lot of blue around us, not a lot of green. We need them to get to wherever we're going. And so what if they're betraying the king? He's a jerk off anyway. Oh, I mean, look, pardon my tongue.
Don't worry.
He and I don't always see eye to eye.
Mm-hmm. I understand. I'm not the Inquisitor. I'm just an ear trying to hear all sides of the story.
If you're interested, I have I got some literature maybe I share with you later, but keep it on the DL.
I will file that away in the mind cabinet for later.
All right. Here's a question. While this is going on, do Zara and Suri do anything during the 3 hours?
I'm definitely watching Lair. Again, I'm still not 100% trusting of these strangers on board. So I'm just watching. Probably.
He moves in mysterious ways.
So yeah, just watching to, see what he's up to. I realize that he's talking to all of my part of my crew, so I'm just like,
yeah, he's he's going on and he's performing an investigation. He's talking to the crew, and you do know that the rumor has gone. He is blessed by the king and blessed of the king, and has a shield of protection around him, and is to be favored by the crew. He is he has been summoned and sent by the king himself. And is there anything Suri does?
Suri, for the most part, is kind of standing on her own, like nervously in a corner. She doesn't really trust the king's authority too much. I mean, she doesn't really like much authority at all. But
so the rebellious child.
Rebellious child trying to make her way in the world. So
he's a man. You're a mermaid. Sorry, we're gonna Little Mermaid references.
Oh boy,
it's gonna be nonstop throughout this whole series. Yeah. Get ready for him, guys.
Now, she does hear. She receives a telepathic message from one of the Carthage sisters. Stefania has reached out to her, and she's letting you know that if you free them, you're welcome to go with them, but you'd have to free them and they would have to go quick. Do you loosen their bands, or do you hold back?
I think she starts making shifty eyes at Zira. Like...
What are you doing? I don't understand. I'm like watching Leia, watching Stuart, and be like, I go over to Stuart. What are you talking about?
Lair, I want you to make an investigation or a history check.
Oh boy, definitely history. Wow, my dice aren't going great. 8.
All right. So, you've heard stories of elves, and you know a bit of the elven schism, and you know fact through your own lack of a father figure in your life. Elves and humans have complicated relationships, and you feel that if you could just get in touch with more details about these elvish sisters, you might be able to solve the mystery. However, no one on this crew and none of the elves seem to trust you, because you are in fact an elf who dresses closer to a human than one of them. In fact, you don't identify as an elf, for in fact you were raised a man. Mm-hmm. So with that said, how do you spend your final hour investigating this mystery?
Well, I mean, it's not looking great. Like pretty much any evidence I can find is probably going to be circumstantial. It's all just like, I mean, I would probably talk to, God, I'm failing on names, but like
you can describe them to me.
Yeah, well, just like someone who would, sort of, like someone who would know when would have been the best time to take over the ship. Like, was there potential for them to have done it before? And would they have done it like during like, well, I don't know, the first mate or?
Yeah, the first mate is Lady Beatrice Fox. Mm-hmm. And she lets you know that one, these sisters are two of the most honorable and noble elves she has ever had the privilege of serving with. And she says, and it goes beyond elves. They are, in fact, she considers them her sisters. And she served with them in the War of Crowns and Dragons years ago. And that her crew would not betray either the crown or Captain Alvar himself. And if there was treachery, it would have taken place on shore, certainly not at sea.
Okay.
All right, Inspector Lunas tracks you down. It was all right. Wordsmith, what evidence do you bring me?
Unfortunately, there's nothing more than the word of the crew. I have it from many of them that they don't believe it, but I mean, I suspect that's not good enough for that. Now, I do believe that it is possible that they may be treacherous, but is it necessary for them to hang now? Would it be possible to wait till we get to shore? We know that something must happen. We can be prepared for it.
Inspector Lunas, he speaks out. He says, well, they can hang tonight, or we can all hang tomorrow. There's clear signs of a conspiracy. However, if you will not condemn them and the crew has voted, then I must honor the vote of the crew, for we are within the jurisdiction of the crew. However, we will put them in captivity until we can figure out more evidence to their innocence. And so that's how it goes. And Andromedy and Stefania are taken down below in chains, tears in their eyes. And with that, nightfall hits. And the crew all dine together. And I'm curious, of the crew, Zira and Suri, who do you two sit with? Do you sit with riggers? Do you sit with swabbers? This is the opportunity to all sit together. And you can choose. What type of crew members do you sit with during mealtime?
Well, I know that Captain Elvar doesn't really like me hanging around Suri because he thinks I'm a bad influence. So I...
Filling her head with these wild notions of freedom, the
and
woods.
Adventure. Yeah, so I go and I sit with the riggers as I usually do. But I am keeping a watchful eye on Suri because I'm not completely sure what just happened back there, considering that she was being very suspicious earlier.
Shifty eyes.
Suri most likely is sitting at her father's hand. It's next to her father somewhere.
All right.
Close to the end of the table.
All right, yeah. Alvar sits, he actually sits amongst the crew. He sits with his fellow officers, of which there is First Mate Lady Beatrice. Gawain Goodbrew does not dine with the crew. He's down below the deck. There's the sea artist, who's kind of the chief navigator, who you've actually really been doing his job for like the past entire duration of your life. His name is Benjamin Hancock. And then, of course, Sally Andrew, the master rigger, sits with the captain as well. And you are also invited to dine with them. Now, Lair, who do you sit with?
Usually, I probably...
Who do you sit with tonight?
Tonight. Oh, boy.
And you are getting evil eyes from all around.
Oh, boy. Who do I sit with tonight? Lair's probably tried to get to know everyone throughout this journey, so he's probably gonna... This is like high school, you pick up your lunch tray, you look around the cafeteria, you got old shifty eye Suri, looking around. Yeah. he's probably just gonna go down among the common deckhands.
Okay, the swabbers, people who work in the bilge, they clean the poop. Yeah.
Yep. And
All right,
and the whole time he's probably getting sea shanties started and drinking songs and all of the like.
All right, as you get down and you're really hyping it up, make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Oh boy. God. That's an 11.
As you come in and you're like, what do they do with the drunken sailor? 99 bottles of beer on the wall. And they're like, They kind of scoot away. You sit. There's a little space on your left, a little space on your right, but you all eat in relative peace.
I giggle.
Yeah, same as Surrey.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Blair winks at you. Both. Both of you.
The small smile on Zara's face immediately goes back to her wrestling bitch face, and she's just like,
she's like, he couldn't handle this.
I will sing to myself if I have to.
There shall be entertainment whether you like it or not.
All right, look, we're all going to have a good time. It's like a family road trip that went bad. We will enjoy Disneyland. Every one of us. That's it. Yes. So, dinner goes without any incident. Night falls. The sun rises. And it's a calm morning, but the day has come to set sail in the rowboat and approach the misty shores of the Long Marsh. And the crew that is going to set sail is, of course, Zira. She's been appointed by the king as she is a fierce elf of the woods and should know her way around the terrain. Lair Silvertongue, who is meant to document the journey. And Surrey really wants to see where the people are, and she figures she might as well see the people of this brave new world. Now, you are also invited to take a member of the crew with you, and they present to you Scruggs from earlier, the shifty-eyed man of many skills who is less enthused by the Kingdom of the Crown, the well-built, strong shield maiden, Shavara, who lets you know that her light will shine forth, and an elderly gentleman wearing green robes named Oakton, and they say, or you may take one of the Carthage sisters, if you please, and you are free to discuss amongst yourself who from the crew you wish to take.
I'm tempted by one of the sisters, admittedly.
Well,
yeah,
you know they're
so-
treacherous, better to keep them close than far
and
away.
I definitely would not go for Scruggs, I would say, much as he is my
what's
friend.
wrong with
What you
Scruggs?
got against me? Is it
You
the
know
way
what
I built?
you-
Am I not tall enough?
I turn to him like, come on, man.
Don't worry. Don't listen to her, Scruggs. You are a very handsome man.
You haven't even
Thanks.
been with him for very
the
long.
way it's the way you haven't even been with him for very Look, I don't judge I don't judge the elves. The elves shouldn't judge me, and it's fine, but I'll do what I do. All right, so Zara, who are you leaning to take with you? One of the Carthage sisters, the elderly man, the shield maiden, and apparently not Scruggs.
No, not Scruggs.
Apparently not Scruggs.
Zara does not like Scruggs. She's leaning towards she's leaning either towards the elf, as she knows, she's not sure whether they're traitors, and keeping them close might be able to reveal some more of that. And she's also thinking possibly the shield maiden. She's not either one of those. She's fine with. She'd worked with them before. More so the sister.
Lair, where are you leaning?
Lair's leaning towards one of the sisters.
which one are you leaning towards, Andromedy or Stefania? And one has silver hair and the other has copper hair. That's how you identify them.
Silver hair and copper hair.
Andromedy is known as a great teller of stories, and Stefania is known as she is the one who is most familiar with all the animals of nature. She can tell you all about any of them at length.
I think he'll vote for Stefania. He doesn't want any rival storytellers on this trip.
All right. Captain Alvar says, Suri, you have the final say. Who will go with you?
Oh, Stefania.
Okay. So they bring Stefania up from below in chains. They remove them. She looks around and they let her know that she is now the property of Suri and the party, and she is to obey their commands. And they also give you a small stone, and they give it to Suri. They say, if at some point she does betray you, make sure you throw the stone at her.
All right.
It'll take care of her, but stand back after you throw it.
I feel like I'm throwing like a pebble at Goliath.
It's David and the Slings, but they warn you. Now, so the four of you are prepared to set sail in the rowboat. You don't need a roll to step into the rowboat, but I'm curious, which of you of the crew are doing the rowing and which of you are doing the orienteering?
Likely, I'd be doing the rowing. I am.
And I think
I look at the bard and I'm like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, Lair's not big in the strength department. He's very
We'll
lift
start
and
the sea
lean.
shanties as we row.
Well, Lair is actually gonna sit with Stefania, and
Well, Stefania says she wants to sit across there, and she's not afraid to shirk work, even though, and you can see as they removed, she has visible wounds on her arms, and it obviously looks like someone went to work on her the night before. They didn't just hold her captive. Definitely she has signs of physical abuse and trauma to her limbs.
Can Lair attempt to charm her?
Elves have advantage to resisting charm.
Yeah, they do have advantage.
But you may attempt. You're welcome to try that.
I think he'd probably try it anyway.
Yeah, give it a shot. He's like, look, I can charm an elf. Yeah. I'm just that good.
Dear lovely Stefania, as sweet smelling as Hermania, and he uses.
What's the DC she has to beat?
13.
All right.
I'm not happy about this. I'm like,
All right. I'm gonna do a GM roll, and yeah, I think her 23 beats your 13. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and she looks at you. She gives you the same resting bitch face that you've received several other times. But then she kind of confuses you. She also gives you Suri's shifty eyes. And then you hear her voice telepathically in your head say, don't even try it. And she says, let us do the work because we know what work is. You write your songs. And they trust Suri to navigate for the crew.
Yes, due north.
Now, as you get into the rowboat, you notice Gawain Goodbrew, the quartermaster, dump his head over the side. He goes, whoa, you guys are off in a hurry. He goes, take the map, and I'm gonna trust Suri with it. She looks like your navigator. But is there anything else you guys be needing before you set sail?
What do we have Do we have
You
anything
have your
else with
supplies.
us? We have our normal. Okay.
But he's like, look, I'm in charge of the supplies. I can get you something. What are you in need of?
Food.
Self-confidence.
Food. I have rope.
Yeah, I just.
This is like the Wizard of Oz. Well, what I really need is some courage. You've done a great feat of courage your whole
I
life.
only had a
Lair's-
brain.
Yeah, no, Lair's lived more in the lap of luxury the last like couple years, so he's not even sure what he would need on an expedition. He's like,
Ointment.
I'll just be.
Do you have some hand lotion up there? My hands are getting all dry and it's rather unsightly.
I roll my one eye at Blair and turn to Gabriel. I don't remember if we have any still on stock. Those healing things, perhaps, or even some water would be good. I don't trust
He goes, all right.
the water
He goes,
sources.
He goes, we can give you 2 gallons of clean water for everyone. And were you asking for a cleaning agent or a healing agent?
Healing.
Oh, yes.
Both?
And he does
I
give
was
you...
asking for cleaning. I'm going to be quite honest.
He goes, look, you're on your own in those marshlands when it comes to the cleaning, and you might find that the dirt is a bit of a protection. Last I heard, there's some pretty nasty insects and other stinging creatures and biting creatures. You might want to pack on as much dirt as you can because it'll keep them off of you.
That is true.
And then, so what he does then is he does go down below. A minute later, he comes back and he does provide Zara with a healing potion. He goes, it's all we got in stock, but should come in handy for you.
Of course. With this, then I pat the 2 swords that are kind of stuck on my back. With these 2, we should be okay. I turn. Do I see Captain from where I am right now?
You do see the captain from where you are, and he goes, also Songsmith. If I could just shake your hand before I go. He reaches his hand out to shake yours.
Blair will firmly grasp him by the forearm and then slide his hand back.
He slides his hand back, and as it touches your hand, you feel something slip from his hand into your own.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you in chat here exactly what he handed you.
Oh boy. Secrets. I love secrets.
Yeah. And I see Captain, I'll be like, I'll take care of her. Don't worry.
You notice Captain Alvar looks at you, then looks at his daughter, and you notice you've never seen Captain Alvar ever show any sign of emotion. There's visible tears in his eyes as his daughter leaves. He just kind of gives you this nod, kind of shakes his head.
Yep.
Suri is playing with the pebble, the rock that she was given. She's really intrigued.
Make an Arcana check.
I'm a little new to roll 20.
Don't worry, so am I.
Hey.
You do great though with that Arcana check. We'll take the 18. And that was the first one you rolled. Yes. That way we avoid the 2 natural ones that you rolled. But yes, we go with the first one, the 18. So the one on the left column is typically the number we take, and you recognize, through the arcane knowledge you have, you sense that this stone, wherever it lands, will cast burning hands into a cone in that direction from the point where it lands. So 3d6 fire damage. So essentially they gave you a rock of assassination should the elves misbehave. So be careful with that stone.
Fiery assassination.
The rock of fiery death.
And totally not a lip balm.
No! That's a rock fact.
Blair looks
So-
at the lip balm. I get some of that.
Yeah, he's like, man, need this. So you set sail, and you're ready to set course. Why don't we have a survival check from Surrey, and Zira and Stefania will make athletics checks to row towards the point. Now, as you look at your map, there's definitely a very clear point where you are expected to land, and so you need to orient through the waves, and let's all right, a 10 for survival, a 15 for athletics, and a
Oh,
6
boy.
on Stefania. Yeah. So Zira, you feel you're doing your share of the work, but it feels like just probably because of the savage beating she took the night before, Stefania is having some issues. And not only that, Surrey may be holding the map upside down. You're not too sure. All right. So yeah, she's like, maybe if I pour more water in it, it'll orient me better. And Laird, you want to respond to this? You notice, because you kind of glance at the map, you notice that you might be going more in circles. You seem to be going a little off course. Is there anything you want to do? Do you want to help out?
Yeah, I think I think he'll being the bard. he's not one for physical work, so he's not jumping in on the boat. Maybe he will inspire all with the Stefania.
Okay,
yeah?
with Bardic Inspiration.
With Bardic Inspiration.
She goes, I refuse to use it. Now, all right, so everybody make the same checks again. So Surrey, do a survival check. Zira, do an athletics check. And Stefania will roll as well.
Okay, well, that's good.
Oh my god. Does she still refuse to use her Bardic?
No, she's using it. So
Okay. Oh my god.
way off course.
We're not going
So-
I'm
anywhere.
making up for it, though.
4-foot waves come crashing down on the boat, and it's just massive waves. You seem to be drifting further south, and you're Surrey's having a hard time. Instinctively, she knows north is where you need to be heading, but that's not the way we're rowing. The map is lying to her, telling her that north points a different direction than what she instinctively feels is correctly in her bones. So everybody make one last check. This is for all the marbles.
Did my 23 not help with that strength?
It
Jeez.
helps great. You're doing your best to reorient them, and you are riding that ship. You're offering inspiration to Stefania, and she says, I was promised Bardic Inspiration. It was a little smaller than I anticipated. But
No, well, there's nothing I can do to the unreceptive mind. It's just a fact.
you're like,
So
look,
there's only so much I can do.
the music's ahead of its time. So everybody make one last roll. All right.
Oh,
Oh, finally.
You right the ship. Everyone writes the ship. You get oriented the right way, but you're coming in on the shore, and Surrey knows that you're off the mark. You are definitely further south than you should be, but at least you managed to land the vessel correctly. So you come across the misty, foggy beach of Longmarsh. You see a thick and foreboding swamp before you. The map looks like it did take some damage on the voyage over. There's a pretty visible natural divide in the map where a river is flowing towards the ocean. You anticipate that you probably landed a number of miles south of there. And how would you like to proceed? You've washed ashore. You have a boat. Stefania's with you. And she's like, well, I'm very grateful to be off that ship. And kind of glances at the crew. What do you do to proceed?
Off on adventure, chaps. Zara, you should perhaps take the lead on this one. I'm just here. You all just do you. I'm just here to write songs and record what you do. So.
Well, if you're going to be working with us, I should hope that's not the only thing you can do.
Well, I can sing for you. I can tell you stories.
What kind of stories?
Oh, all sorts of stories. Stories about fairies and all the creatures of the Fae. I can tell you about the normal people too.
I mean, I'm down to hear them all.
Okay.
What do you mean by normal people? Says Stefania.
Normal.
What do you mean by normal people?
People of this realm, of course. Of this plane. Obviously non-fairy folk from the Fae Wilds. Have you ever heard of them? You ever heard of the Fae Wilds?
I'm
No.
from the Fae
No.
Wilds, and I'm pretty sure that's where your father's from, judging by the shape of your ears. She kind of gives you a cold stare, and then you notice she drops to a knee, almost from exhaustion, and you can tell she hasn't been given any food in a day, and she's severely dehydrated, and she just physically exhausted herself rowing from the Seagull to the shore, and but she steadies herself, wipes her brow, and she
Suri
says,
immediately goes to her side at this point to try and help her up.
yeah, and she allows you to assist her and thanks you for her assistance. She says, well, one of us will have to blaze the trail. One of us will have to keep track of inventory. And one of us should scout ahead to make sure that the way is safe. Who will perform each duty?
As I said, I'm just here to record here. Going on.
I have diplomatic immunity.
I do have.
By the king himself not to raise a finger.
Exactly.
God. Zara does not like...
I can keep track of the inventory.
We're going to blaze a trail, and the elves are going to be the ones that blaze it.
Well, clearly. Oh, I hand her one of my, small little things of rations over to her, so she's not going to collapse in the middle of the swamp we're headed into.
Perhaps should we take a rest? Would that be best for the lovely lady here?
She shakes her head. She goes, I don't trust these shores. And I also don't trust the swamp ahead, but where do you think the favored five would be found? We do know that they were sent to investigate the colony. Do you think we should head there first, or is there somewhere else we should head?
Well, I would assume they'd be nearby the colonies, and if not, we'd be able to probably get some hints as to where they might have gone.
I agree with that. I think the colonies are probably the best place to start. Find some clues. Put our noses to the ground. Well, your noses to the ground.
Ooh. Harsh. All right. She gives you, and she realizes too, and she remembers what Inspector Lunas said on the vessel, that she essentially belongs to the adventuring party at this point. And Stefania says, well, Zara, Suri, who do you prefer of us three blaze the trail, since old Butterfingers over there can't be trusted to do real work?
My fingers are the butteriest.
Like melted butter on a summer's day on a piece of crumbled.
I'll say, well, you know me, I'm not very sneaky, but I can get my way through things quite fine. So, I mean, if you need me to do the physical work, Well, I think
right.
I can do it.
All right. Suri, are you in agreement with that Zero should blaze the trail?
I believe so. Yeah, I Suri agrees with that. She trusts Zira basically with everything. So
Who should keep track of the supplies? Lair?
No, we should put the
Raises
bard
both
to
hands.
work,
He's like,
shall
I believe
we?
that is a job for the well written of us.
I really hope we can over encumber him right now.
That's what we're doing. All right. Yeah,
Wait,
just like,
wait,
okay.
what?
Here we
they
go.
hand you.
I thought
Everyone.
I thought I was just writing down how much we had of what.
There's like 8 gallons of water that they just started like, all right, here's stacking them up, like tying it to him. And they're like, all right, cooking pot over the top of his head. And they're like, and they just rope him. All right, so Zero, why don't you go ahead and make a survival check for me.
All right. Thankfully, I'm good
Blaze
at
the
that.
way into the trail.
Ugh. Well, 13's not bad, but yeah. Yeah, so I'm at a that's a 13. Unfortunately, not a nat 20 set face, but not bad, not bad.
All right. Well, you're doing a pretty awesome job leading the way. The trail is really hard. This marsh, it's unlike any terrain you've ever seen. And Zara, you're familiar with rough terrain, but this is just, it feels like hell on earth. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. Suri's like, ooh, all these new sensations. This is
this what the world is
this
like?
blows. This blows. She's like, man, if we're gonna be this wet out of the water, I might as well just go back into the water. You
I was expecting it to be less muggy.
Yes, you come to a large river crossing, and it's about 100 feet across the river. You come to it, and your map's pointing to you that this is the natural landmark and divide to head north towards the colony. But how would you like to proceed across it?
Okay. Well, I know I have 2 different things of rope because being a rigger, I'm always prepared for these types of things. Is there anything on the other side that I'd be able to kind of, lasso, tie, etc.?
Although you're skilled, you're not sure if you could lasso something 100 feet away. You're welcome to try to, but there's definitely ropes. You could tie it to trees, anchor it there, hitch it to trees, etc. that look sturdy and stable. There's rocks that you're pretty sure you could hitch it to.
Okay. Yeah. Practically, I'm just trying to create some form of a rope bridge-ish or a guide at least for us. But
you think you could possibly take some of the larger logs and let me know what you'd like to make a bridge out of and how you'd like to do it. Just sort of describe it to me.
Okay.
You're a wood elf. You were born building bridges in the woods.
I was born to build bridges. Yes. So are logs around and the such? I would probably try to find one of the logs that have fallen, so not attached to a tree, because I don't have an axe with me per se. Try. So are there any just like kind of lying around that have already fallen, or are most of them still actually intact trees?
All right, so you find plenty of trees that there's actually larger trees too that you're pretty sure it would float across the river. You're not too sure how well you all could balance on those, but you're pretty sure you could make small rafts to go across if you wanted to attempt to rig something together.
Yeah, so basic idea is I want to be able to find a log with not obviously not super
Rotted.
flat, but a flat-ish surface.
Mhm.
Try to push it so that it's across and tie at least one end down so then just start floating downstream
Got it.
while we're on
Can-
it.
Can I help?
Yes, absolutely. So why don't you make either a dexterity check or a survival check, whichever's higher for you, with advantage, Sarah.
Okay, cool. I mean, they're the same for me, so let's just do survival. Oof, nope.
You're having some trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I literally just rode us across practically by myself.
Yeah, I know. You're like, all right, well, you're figuring it out. It's just taking you a longer time than you thought. While this is going on, Lair, Stefania says, what do you think would be the best way to get across? Or maybe do you think we should go around? This seems to be taking a while. Should we find a more narrow crossing? Or
I was just thinking that perhaps this is not the best place to be crossing. So perhaps we look for somewhere else to cross. Somewhere narrower. Perhaps maybe the water is moving less fast somewhere else.
Do you often trail across rivers and marshes like this?
Not marshes per se. I grew up in the woods when I was young, so I've had my fair share of rivers.
everybody make a perception check.
Oh boy.
21. There we go. On a perception check, of course, though.
Admittedly, I can't find it on.
Right
Roll
next to
20.
persuasion. Or right above
Yep.
performance.
There it is.
Everyone rolled excellent, as did Stefania. As you look across the river, you notice that there appears to be a physical darkness that's creeping through the trees. There also appears to be particles in the air, like some sort of dust or ash, snow, but it's not the season as hot and humid as it is, kind of drifting through the air, and it seems to be enveloping the entire other side of the river. What do you do?
Now, that I don't have much experience with. I can honestly not say I don't know what that is.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
Yep. Just thought I'd put it out there, let you know where I stand on this whole thing.
Oh well, I feel very reassured.
I can be quite reassuring. Yes. Yep.
Zira.
Yes, sorry, I'm a little busy right now, but yes.
That.
Have you tried
And she just
shooting
points.
it?
Oh shit. Oh boy. Okay. Dara hasn't been like on land in a while, so she's kind of just like, I don't. God. Oh, swamps are usually pretty bad news. I'm assuming. All right. So what exactly are we seeing again, Grant? We're seeing like
A dark, enveloping physical darkness that seems to be it. It's kind of like this. Pretend you're in a room, and in the room you have a light on. However, the room across the hall from you, the light is off, except you're outdoors. Someone
Right.
is turning off the lights outdoors. The
Okay.
Grinch has, in fact, stolen the sun. And then there appears to be a physical substance drifting through the air on the other side of the river.
okay.
Perhaps we move down or upstream, perhaps somewhere easier to cross, and maybe not where there's weird darkness across from us.
For once, that's
Possibly.
a good idea, Mr.
What can I
Barr.
say? I'm just full of them.
Clearly, you've shown.
Yes. That will go down.
I loosen
minutes.
my ropes and let the log go. All right.
Okay.
So,
More
Sorry?
trailblazing?
well, on your map, does it seem like the river goes narrower, going upstream or downstream?
It's definitely narrower further north. However, to get to the more narrow regions, it would take you the rest of the day, you feel, and you would possibly have to camp outdoors as opposed to the colony. But it is your choice.
Well, rather unfortunate. I would preferably like to get to the colonies. I don't particularly do well sleeping on the ground. It's not great for my beauty sleep.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to get used to it. I'm assuming we are probably going to be here for a little while. How on earth
I'm
did you
down to head to the colonies.
Yes, I will.
Do we try to swim the river then?
I'm okay with this.
Well, of course you are, sir.
Stefania says she's willing to swim across as well, and she goes, but if we go, let's make sure we all go together.
Of course.
Everybody make an athletics check. Surrey, you get
boy.
advantage being a merfolk.
Now, I do hope that some of you are taking some of this gear off of me because, well, it would make swimming well, does it make me more buoyant though? Is the question.
No. You'll do all right.
All right, athletics, not my strength. Oh! At least it's not in that one. It's not in that one. It is not in that one. No.
Did you roll a 1? How did you do that?
I rolled a 2 and I have a -1.
And you got a -1. Wow. All right. Well, you still got a 1. All right.
Sorry. Come on.
All right. So
Oh my!
Surrey
Help.
has a 17.
Help! I'm going downstream.
All right.
I'm trying to grab him because, and that's probably why I'm doing not so great, is I'm trying to, haul him with me.
So, all right. So, Lair, what's your armor class?
13. He's 13.
All right. So I'm rolling so you can see. Well, a 19 hits you.
Yikes.
Rip Lair. Next week I will be playing.
Alfonso,
Is there any way that
Bang.
Surrey would
Okay.
you
try
take 10
and...
points of damage.
Alejandro.
You take 10 points of
I
damage.
am unconscious.
All right. So you notice, in fact, Surrey, you notice as you're going across a large water snake. Its head is about a foot long, and it seems to be maybe 20 feet in total length. Bulbous, massive head. Snaps into Lair, and he goes out like a light, doing the dead man's float. And then it starts to wrap around him. What does the rest of the party do?
Well, I was the one trying to pull Lair. I'm probably right there, and I'm like, fucking hell, and try to take out the sword while also treading water, and grab onto the snake and just fucking stab it.
All right. Go ahead and make an attack roll. Are you standing up where you're at, or are you going to try to do it while swimming?
Well, I guess it's probably best if I'm standing, but I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying.
All right. We're not going to go too deep into the underwater combat rules, but go ahead and make a straight attack roll at the snake.
Okay, well, I got dueling, so that's a +5. And I don't think an 11 hits, does it?
No, an 11 does not hit. Surrey, is there
Okay.
anything you would like to do?
I'd like to throw an ice knife at it.
Ooh. Is that one of those elemental evil spells?
Yes,
Excellent.
I do believe so.
All right. Let me know Does it need to make a saving throw, or do you make an attack roll?
I make a ranged spell attack.
Okay. What did you get?
Admittedly, I don't know how to do this on roll
So,
20.
when in
You wanna
doubt,
take-
type / roll 1d20 plus your spell casting modifier.
Just take care of the bard. He's your only healer.
Plus my magic modifier. Someone put some elevator music on right now, like
Do, 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 do.
I mean, I think just roll 20 hates me. Period.
It's true. It's rigged.
Think
Rigged
it's
against
this.
him. All right. Let's double check. Helps if I pop in.
Did that?
Do here.
Yeah,
I'll do it real quick.
There's
We'll
a
see.
dice roll. There's a dice roller on the.
Yeah, I'll do
on the side.
1d20 plus 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got a nat 20. I just rolled it for you. So you totally critical hit that guy. How much damage does he take? We can go ahead and double it, because why not?
All right.
Double dice.
2d6. Oh, sorry. It takes 1d10 piercing damage.
Okay. So let's roll 1d10. 3, and then anything else?
And then it has to make a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 cold damage.
I believe it made its throw. What's its DC? It has to be 13 to 15. It got a 16.
Oh, it's probably a 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he makes it, and what's the half damage he'll take? Half
Okay,
of 1d10 rounded down, or?
It'll be half of the 2d6.
Okay, so just roll 1d6. What? He takes 0 points of damage. Yeah, so you ice knife the big bad snake. It doesn't seem to let go of Lair, though. Lair, go ahead and make a death saving throw for me.
Yep. Oh, phew, that's a success.
That's a success. All right,
Yeah,
0.
Did the crit double the damage on that?
It technically shouldn't, but we'll just go ahead and say he took double damage because
I don't know.
No, it actually. I don't believe ranged spell attack will double the dice for the ranged spell. But okay, sorry, I was losing zoom on my desktop. So 0, what would you like to do? You've got a snake in the water. Lair's about to get constricted. He's dying.
He is dying. You're muted, Zara, by the way.
You're muted.
He's in the snake's grasp, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh boy.
He's getting ready to put his head into its mouth. Just.
Well, I'm going close to that snake's head and just gonna try to stab it again in its head, slash it with
All right.
with my sword.
You hear a voice
No.
from somewhere. Do
12.
better this time.
12, which
All
Those-
right. A 12 does not hit.
God damn it. Ugh. I'm trying really hard to not
You're
stab
doing
the
great,
bard
guys.
at the same time. So, my hesitation. Oh boy.
All right. So you go ahead and miss. Suri, what will you do?
I feel like at this point, Suri would just want to dive in and try and just get Lair out in some way. Just with her hands, she would rely on her strength of being in the water more than she would her spells.
All right. So is she looking to get onto the other side and then or is she looking to stay within the water. Can you clarify for me?
She's looking to get over to the other side.
Okay, and she would be able to get to the other side at this point and still perform an action if you'd like. So is there an action you'd like to do at range? And we can look this up after the game, but chat has pointed out that the book simply says attacks, not necessarily spell attacks would do critical. So I'm going to add an extra 4 points of damage and an extra D10 to the damage. So an extra 9 points of damage to that snake. So he's actually quite a bit more beat up than maybe we let on. So
it's hard to tell with half of it being in the water and the other half of it being a bard wrapped inside of it.
All right. So, Suri, what action would you like to take?
I think I'll try Ray of Frost, one of my cantrips.
Give it a shot.
Okay.
If you get a 13 or higher, you'll hit.
Ooh.
And what's your modifier? I don't think it's +7.
No, my modifier, and this would be spell attack bonus.
Yeah.
+5.
All right. So the Ray of Frost zips past the watery serpent. It kind of zigzags its head like, "Oh no, you didn't," and freezes a bit of the water beside him. Lair, go ahead and make a death saving throw for me.
Do better, please.
Quit.
Oh, just barely a save. I think, right? 10 or above, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So that's a second success. And the snake makes an attack at Zira. It goes, "Look, I want to eat." What's your armor class, Zira?
That is a miss.
Yeah. And you zigzag your head as he zigzags his head, and you're like, "Oh no, you didn't." All right. You can actually also make an attack of opportunity on him if you would like.
Lovely. Yes, I would, in fact.
Are we all sort of floating down river as this is happening?
God damn it.
You're
Still.
pretty.
Still.
What did you get?
11.
All right, so
I'm
you missed,
just
but
missing the snake.
it is back to your turn though,
Good,
and you can do.
Well, yeah, still, finally.
All right, roll damage.
Yeah, that is a 10 points of slashing damage.
10
Screw
points
you,
of slashing
snake.
damage. Yeah, off goes the watery serpent's head. Describe to me how you'd like to finish the creature off.
Zara had been very pissed not be able to hit the snake. And as the snake kind of goes past, she tries to swipe at it, misses, and then she just brings her hand above and just down on the serpent's head.
All right. And with that, the serpent's head is lobbed off. It releases Lair from his coils. Lair, go ahead and make a final death saving throw.
Nope. That's a failure.
And I'll just shout, "Sorry, can you get him out? Please."
All right. You get him out, and I assume Stefania and Zara help drag him to shore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And essentially, you now have him laid out upon the shore. And does anyone want to attempt to stabilize him?
CPR. He needs CPR.
Stefania says we do have that healing potion.
Yes, but if there's a way we can just stabilize him first, I don't know if this is quite the right time. We barely got started.
Count on the bard for that to happen.
Stefania goes, "Well," pounds on his chest.
Go Stefania.
All right. Let's see which. No, she rolls a nat one. She cracks his ribs. And that would be the end. She does 2d6 points of damage. Lair, thank you for playing. No, I'm just messing. Go ahead and make another death saving throw. We'll see how close you are to death's door.
14.
You make it. He stabilizes on his own. She goes,
And I'm like,
well,
and I just turned to Stefani. I'm like, I know he's annoying, but you could have been a little easier on him, could you? Don't you
A
think?
gentle hand might have been useful, Stefania.
I'm still
She goes-
unconscious, just not dying.
Oh yeah, you're stabilized though. So they go. You know, should we tie him to some logs and drag him through the swamp? Should we camp out here? And Stefania says, and you notice now that you are on the other side, it is quite dark and foreboding.
Well, I know we should head toward the colonies. Try to circumvent this darkness. It doesn't seem like it's spreading as far as I can see, or is there seem to be an actually distinct?
It's distinct. This segment of the marshlands is quite a bit dark than the lands behind you. And you notice, you can see what looks like, brilliant sunlight attempting to pierce through the canopy above on the other side. But here it feels as if the sun itself refuses to shine. Make those of you who are up, Zara, you make an either a nature check or a arcana check with advantage.
All right, and I believe there's something that had been forwarded to us to say, Grant, over in the Skype chat, because I believe we have some heals. I believe there are some heals happening.
Ah, yes. Okay, so we have a donation from Riceball Gaming. This is for Will, who does a fantastic job of making this channel entertaining. DMing a lot of games does take its toll. Yes, in fact, he has in fact been reduced to a ghostly form.
And I believe there is a heal for our very unconscious bard.
Okay, so how about does this work? How does he get healing? Does he get a potion? It's
he gets
all the healerinos. It looks like the ghost of Will. I'm receiving a message from beyond the grave. Okay, 3d10 heals.
Right,
Oh,
do I roll-
jeez.
Do you roll that or do I roll that?
You roll that. I like. We're actually both rolling pretty crummy.
17. I am right as rain again.
so he's
Lair-
fine.
He
Lair-
springs up to his feet.
Gee.
All right,
Are
he
you,
is.
are you okay?
What divine goddess has brought me back from the grasp of the unending night that is death?
Well, if you don't get up your ass, then that will happen soon again. So how about we shall get going, shall we?
I am feeling much better. Who do I have to thank?
Well,
I believe the lady surrounding you.
All the single ladies. All the single ladies. All the single ladies. All the single ladies. If you want it, then you better put some heels on it. Okay, so.
so many song references.
All right. You go into. You're on the edge of the marshland, and Zara, did you make the?
Yes, I rolled a
what did you roll?
16 with advantage.
Okay, great. You know, in your elven culture, you have had explained to you that the world we live in is not the only world in this wide universe, and there are many worlds. In fact, the realm from which you came on the other side of the river would be prime material. However, you suspect this side of the river appears to be Shadowfell, and you can clearly see ash floating through the air slowly. And you're not sure if it's ash or flesh. You're not too sure. This is quite a foreboding presence in the air.
I look around. Well, fuck. How much do you know about
Lair, can I
other
have you make a
worlds?
perception check for me?
Because
It's an 18.
there's
You know that, the Shadowfell to you appears to be a dark place. Lair, you see not too far into the marshland an overturned boat.
Was it on the other side?
It looks fairly fresh, and it probably someone has sailed across. You don't see tracks, but you definitely see the sign that someone did go from one side of the river to the other and up into the swamp.
I point that out to my lovely adventuring party.
What does your elf eye see?
what do your
Thank you.
half-elf eyes see?
What does your
I
half
see a
elf eye
boat
see?
over yonder. It appears someone has made the trip over here recently. Fairly recently. It would have been nice to have that boat on the other side, I must say. It really would have been nice.
They could have
It's
left
gonna
it in a more
take-
convenient
you know-
spot.
This is the finest quality muslin.
Well, this is quite interesting, considering that, well, we do seem to be the only ones that have gone through here in a while. If my journey having to go through these woods, which
Stefania asks if we should investigate it or if we'd like to. Maybe there's clues on it. Perhaps there's an insignia of who they were loyal and aligned with.
I believe that would be a good idea.
I second that idea.
All right. As you
Lovely
approach
sir,
it,
what do you think?
she's had enough of boats.
Yeah,
Let's
so
go. Check it out.
All right. You
I'm all
approach.
intrigued.
All right. Everybody make a perception check. Tell me if you beat 15.
I do not.
I am on it with the perception game today, and that is all I'm on. I got 19.
Now, what's your marching order?
I'm assuming I'm near the front.
Yep.
Yes, you've been blazing the trail.
Yeah.
Stefania stands near you as an elf, and then Suri, can you give us a perception roll?
Yeah, sorry, my thing went weird, and all of a sudden I still can't find them.
Totally
It's
understand.
Totally changed.
What's
my
your
character
modifier?
sheet. Everything's gone. I don't know what's
Nice.
happened.
Huh.
I'll give you a +3. A 19. We'll take that for now.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, totally a 19.
Try reloading roll 20, by the way.
I
Sometimes
just
that-
did, and
Yeah.
now it's gone weird, and I don't know why.
Don't worry. And in the future, if you have like some dice, just regular dice or another dice app you use, just understand that, I trust you as players. And while it might be not be as visible for the audience, but if you roll and announce and let me know, just for whatever you're most comfortable with, because I'm pretty new to Roll20 as well, and D&D Beyond and Fantasy Grounds and all these digital apps. It's like literally like a lot of times I just keep a stack of dice next to me. I mean, I have
I got all my dice
pencil,
at the side.
pencil and paper for my notes, and so yeah, if you have to roll tangible dice, just understand we're very accepting and understanding. So Zira, you and Stefania approach the boat, and as you come up to the boat, Lair and Suri notice, standing slightly back, that boat has eyes. And
Oh, the boat,
it has
don't go
eyes.
there, the boat.
The boat has eyes, and
The boat has eyes.
yes, and as you go down to reach to pick it up, the boat opens up in two, and it has sharp teeth between the planks, and it goes to clamp on Zara, and we can thank our
No.
lovely viewer decisions
God
for
damn it.
providing. Got dandruff, some of it itches. We have there is in fact a mimic boat on the other side. Go ahead and roll initiative.
It would not be chat without mimics.
Yeah, they're lovely people. We love them.
Oh.
Oh.
Ha! 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 Ha!
And let's
Oh,
see
this
how we
is
do.
Awesome.
So it's going first, and it's going to take a snap out of Stefania. And I'm actually going to do this on the DM side. And it most definitely hits Stefania, who is not wearing any armor. And she takes 7 points of bludgeoning damage. Next in initiative, Suri, you may go.
I guess I'll attempt my Ray of Frost again.
All right, give it a shot. Bodhi, Mimic, Mick, Boatface. Love you, chat.
Bodhi,
you guys are great.
Amazing.
All right. What'd you get to hit that boat? Oh yeah, you definitely hit that boat. You hit that boat
yeah.
right in his. Hit that boat right in his Bodhi Mimic Mick Boatface.
Bodhi, mimic,
All right.
okay.
Hit him square. Go ahead and roll damage.
Oh.
Wah, wah, wah. Wah.
Ah!
All right. Lara, go ahead.
All right. Lair is going to sigh and look at the boat, and he's going to say, "You know, you made a really shitty boat. Look at you. You can hardly even float." And he's casting Vicious Mockery.
That's what I think. So does he make a save in
Yeah,
retaliation?
to save, it is
What type of save?
a wisdom saving throw.
All right. Well, mimics have bonuses too. What's the DC to beat?
13. Damn
He
it.
gets a 20. So I assume he is not wounded by your words.
Yep, and yep.
All right, Zira, it's your turn.
Apparently does not care.
Yeah.
Does not care.
I was startled because boats are usually boats and not mimics.
It's
So, but
Don't you hate when that happens?
but I pull out longsword again, and I'm gonna try to stab it right in this eye
Yeah,
that
stab it
I-
in its mimic eye.
that I managed to miss somehow the first time out. So I'm gonna stab it with a nat 20.
Woo, nat 20.
So that damage
Brilliant.
is 17 times 2, friend.
All right, so that is 34
Four.
points of
Wow.
damage to the
And
mimic.
I just stab it real hard.
Wow.
Sweet. Stefania takes.
Sweet.
Stefania stabs with a dagger.
It's still alive?
Oh yeah, the mimics have 58 hit points, just so you're aware, and they're immune to acid. Some of this I was going to share some out of character stuff because, yeah, mimics are pretty nasty, especially boat mimics, because you get in them and you're expecting to sail down rivers or go across oceans and have amazing adventures. No, instead they eat you and you die. But she definitely hit, and Stefania stabs the mimic for not a D20 worth of damage, a D4. 6 more points of damage. Next up, the mimic goes, and the mimic is going to attempt to take a bite out of Zira.
Yeah. I just made the mimic match me with its eyes.
Yeah, so I don't believe a 9 hits you.
Ha! No. It does not hit at all. No, yeah. I'm not startled anymore.
All right, we'd like to thank Isrever for the donation. It's greatly appreciated. We appreciate everything that our good friend Will Jones, the Ghost, does to grow the Encounter Roleplay community and provide wonderful entertainment. Now, all right, so you are totally missed by the slow boat mimic's face, and it just kind of chomp, 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 and it tries to get in a little closer to you, but you are too evasive for it. I believe next up on the initiative, it's Lair, correct? Lair, Suri?
Suri.
Yeah,
History.
yes, sorry.
Unfortunately, she doesn't really have much at the moment in the way of attacks. She had a lot of other helpful stuff, but not attacking stuff. She wasn't expecting this to be happening so early on in her adventures. So she'll try one more time to do the Ray of Frost.
Got it.
Come on. Gosh darn it.
No, that's a whiff. However, it does say, ooh, the ground near me is a little chilly, and its wonderful silvery mimic tongue. No, it's not going to be a singing boat mimic. We're not going to do that on this episode of Encounter Roleplay. Next up, I believe, Lair, you get a shot at it.
Yep. I was like, well, all right. If words aren't going to work, and he whips out a dagger and throws it at it. And can I be at like 20 feet-ish?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Just out of mimic range.
Yeah.
Oh, you can actually fight, can you?
No, I can't.
No.
You
Absolutely can't.
But as he says this, he's like, and he sort of sings to Zera. Lovely Zera, one-eyed maid, monsters do fear your sword. When they draw near, you show them to your blade, and gives you bardic inspiration.
Thank
Boom.
you. I
All
appreciate
right.
that. That's really...
And I'm going to award you inspiration yourself, where you can choose to give it to another player, re-roll a die roll, based on whether or not you choose for singing your song out loud. All right, so I believe you use bardic inspiration as a bonus action, and now Zera has that. So Zera, you are up on initiative.
Hooray. No, clearly, as I've done so well before, still using my longsword, still slashing at it. That'd be... No.
No, another nat 1 for Zera. This has
Was
been
a nat 20 and
Thank
then
God
nat
you don't have
1.
to use bardic inspiration until after
You can use bardic inspiration if you would like,
I don't think
and
it's
add it to it, or you may, if Lair would like, he could give you his inspiration to re-roll your die roll. It's up to you, and it's up to Lair.
Lair is all about supporting his other members.
You're
So
right.
he will generously grant you his inspiration.
Well, I appreciate it. So
Yes.
let's try that again, shall we? Nope.
Tell me, Zara Reed, tell me why you hurry so. For the pikes must be together by the rising of the moon.
Yeah, no. I'm being distracted by your singing.
Now, are you going to use the additional d6 he gives
Yes,
you to
I will.
add to that?
Let's do that.
Yes.
1d6. Come on.
Our
Dice currently
rolls
feel
have
great.
exceptionally.
And you miss.
The cat overlord is making sure we roll poorly today, apparently.
Well, Stefania hits it.
Yay, Stefania.
Yay!
Yay, NPCs. Yay, 8 points of damage.
Have both my bardic inspirations gone
Alright,
to
so-
ones?
Yes. Now, here's a question. The mimic has clearly been, over time, you've worn the mimic down, and eventually it takes a little longer than you expected, but you do manage to eventually off it, since it is greatly outnumbered. Sorry.
When the DM pities you.
Got it. But and you finish off that mimic, the boat mimic, and you learn that these woods are perhaps not all that they seem, and you journey further into the marshland. As you're going deeper into the marshland, you eventually, as the sun begins to set, which is blocked out by the darkness that is the Shadowfell. You're definitely coming to, and I believe, Surrey, you know how many hours remain in the day, correct? I think you have some special traits.
Yes, Suri has. She can always. We've gone over the always tell when north
Yeah.
is. and she can let us know, the number of hours left before sunrise or sunset. So
that's how you know in the
yay,
Shadowfell.
keen mind.
Yes, she has the keen mind feat, and she was born with it, being daughter of the Sea Queen. And she knows right about now that night comes soon, and it is time to sleep soon. And you are coming up on the remnants of the lost colony, and you are about a football field's length away, so 100 yards or 100 meters, 300 feet for our friends in foreign lands. But essentially, you can see it's dark and it's foreboding, which is a word we've used far too many times on this stream. But you see two pairs of glowing yellow eyes with a dark silhouette behind it, and they're kind of looking around in your direction. What do you do?
Wait.
And this is from within the colony, so near the front entrance.
So
there's two figures, both have glowing yellow eyes.
I think Suri is going to keep kind of walking ahead, really intrigued, but squinting back at these eyes. She's almost feeling quite enraptured by this new sight.
I'm grabbing Suri's arm and like pulling her back.
Yeah, and Stefania's grabbing from around her waist, and she's like,
but there's, what is that?
There must be people to greet us in the colony. Like we should arrive in song and fanfare.
No,
I can provide the song.
You notice that they appear to hunch over, and they have what appears to be pitchforks that they're pushing down into the mud.
Look, they're just simple farmers. They're carrying pitchforks.
I don't know what simple farmers you know that have glowing yellow eyes. And if you don't shut up soon, we may attract their attention.
Well, I take back that song I sung to you earlier.
Oh.
It was it was a little bit distracting if you hadn't noticed.
I'm sorry that you can't appreciate my artistic sense. Gosh.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are digging into the muck, and then they sort of stop as almost as if they might hear your conversation and kind of look over at you guys, and then you notice them retreat into the colony. What do you do?
Are we safe now? Does this mean we're safe?
I wouldn't say safe, but it does mean that we can approach, but cautiously. And I give like a very pointed look.
Okay. Let's go.
Heads on a swivel then, as they say.
All right. So who wants to lead the way into the lost colony?
Suri at this point is just so intrigued. She's going ahead. She's walking right ahead.
I'm right behind her. Nope.
Laris behind them, softly humming to himself.
We're so sneaky, guys.
As you're approaching it, and you get about halfway, you see a pair of glowing eyes in the marsh beside you. The creature's gray skin. The eyes take up roughly a third of its skull. They're large and they're bulbous, and you can see it. And he's almost he appears to be gray skinned and wearing tattered brown clothing. He doesn't have a pitchfork, and he seems to be spinning about. And he sees the group of you and goes, yeah, kind of throws his hand at you in disgust.
Hail, good farmer.
Hi.
Who do we have the pleasure of making acquaintance today?
And he kind of responds. He goes, which is a language you have never heard before, the popcorn language.
All right. Well, we come in peace. We are but travelers.
He motions for you to come forward.
Oh, yes.
And he points,
Yes.
and you notice he has these webbed fingers, but he kind of points at his hand, and then he points at yours, and he's kind of beckoning for you to put your hand in his hand. almost as
How
if he wants
slimy
to
does
get
his
rid
hand
of.
look?
You know, it's grimy, but surprisingly well kept and manicured.
Oh, wow, then I see you're a man of culture as well. I put my hand in his hand.
All right, when you put your hand in his hand, he reaches down and he bites.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Lara is not the wisest person.
All right, and you take you take 2 points of fishman teeth to the hand damage. And after he does that, he starts laughing out loud at you. Just
I am going to slap him.
All right, make an attack roll.
It's probably just gonna be like unarmed, right? So like
Yeah, so
Yeah. The rest of you notice that he has a rope tied to one of his ankles, and it's tied to a large stone. And on the stone, there appears to be an Elvish script. Let me know if either of you read.
oh yes, I do read Elvish.
I read Elvish.
The
Except
stone is labeled shame. Yes.
Oh my! I pull my arm back, and I'm just like, you are clearly not a man of culture. Why would you do that? Why?
He just makes like raspberries at you, just and then
I can't
armpit
believe you-
noises. He's
I suggest we
disgusting.
keep walking. If we stand near this, I need to cleanse this wound. It is perhaps infected with whatever rabies he has.
I turn to my fellow elf and I'm just like, I can't believe he fell for that. Jeez.
And as you're leaving, he mimics like biting his hand and then points at Lair and just kind of laughs again.
I flip him the bird. I flip him
Little
2
bird.
birds.
Yeah, oldest trick in the swamp.
Wait, as we're leaving.
As you're leaving.
Shit. As we're leaving, can I fish this mopberry?
What?
Yeah, you can. You can. What's the DC?
It's 13. It's wisdom saving throw. I'd say
All right.
you are an obscene, decayed barnacle.
I've seen decayed barnacle.
I rolled a nat 20, even with a
Oh my
-2,
God.
so an 18.
I just can't be taken seriously today.
Yeah, he just looks dumbfounded. He's just like, all right, well, even if I am a barnacle, that sounds really offensive to the barnacles out there. And I don't think you should generalize an entire group of species like that. Barnacle is not an insult. It's a sea creature. And I think we need to stick up for the barnacles. And
Stir
I
is like
understand
shaking
none
her
of
head
this.
at him in shame. Like,
yeah,
just,
and as a merfolk too, it's highly offensive to you. Some of your friends were barnacles growing up, and it really, this guy needs to open his mind to barnacles.
dear Barney the barnacle, he was good friend. He was a good friend.
Oh,
He was a damn fine mollusk.
I wasn't talking about your friends. I'm sure there are good barnacles there as well. Just like there are good and bad merfolk and humans and elves and half-elves. And whatever that thing is.
All right. As you approach the village, you notice that a group of about 6 of these fish folk have gathered in the center, and they're kind of peering over at you. And in the middle of them, there's one that has a large spindly hat as well. And the group of them are just all kind of eyeballing your hodgepodge of elves and merfolk coming in.
I
So
say,
what do you
good
do?
townsfolk, do you know you have a crazy person chained up to a rock out there?
And the
He
rock
bit
did
me.
say, shame, I'm assuming.
As you speak to them, they just kind of look at each other and
Of course, they don't understand us.
yeah, and the big one looks at you, and he kind of, with his hat, he kind of comes up, and he goes, and he kind of looks at you.
I point at my wound. I point at him. I point it outside. I mimic a biting motion.
Oh, he looks at your hand, and then he kind of looks at the other one. They go, yeah, and then they all say in unison, "Stumpo." That's what they all say. They all say the word "Stumpo," and that's you can only assume it's that one's name. They seem to apologize.
Stumpo. Yeah, he bit me. Not a very warm greeting, people.
The one with the hat motions to your hand and asks for you to put your hand in his hand.
I ain't doing it. I say, and I would have seen the Elvish on the stone outside, right?
You did see the Elvish on the stone outside.
I say, I'm not falling for it this time in Elvish.
You see that, and when you speak that, he kind of stops and he goes, burp, 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 burp. And then he thinks hard, and he reaches his pitchfork into the ground, and he begins to write in Elvish. He asks, "Are you with the others, or are you from here?"
We are very clearly with the others. We are very clearly not from whatever desolate land this is, this barbaric land where people just bite other people.
How do you convey this information to him?
Shit, I'm gonna have to write it, aren't I?
So you write it out, and then
I take the tip of my boot and I write it out.
All right, you write it out with the tip of your boot, and you write it in the mud, and the people all kind of look, and then they look back at you, and they ask what brings you here. They write it out. They take their finger, they draw into the mud, and they write out asking, well, what brings you to this colony? And also let you know it's probably not safe for you to be around here.
I mean, I don't know if the other two elves would like to speak to them, but I mean, I do see myself as the diplomatic one here. So we are here, and I'm writing this all down in front of my, every time I write something with my boot, I flick off whatever muck and mud gets on it. We are here to find the others of our kind.
He looks long and hard and at you, and then he asks the question, do you have a map?
I motion to Suri.
Suri will like hold up a rather beaten map from her terrible navigation in the water, but yeah, a map nonetheless.
All right. Then he motions and asks if he can. Chat does hate you guys,
specifically me apparently.
Thanks for the donation from Ms. River, and hell's a coming. So essentially, he asks if he can take the map, and he asks if there's any writing utensils amongst you. Is there any ink?
I most definitely have ink and pen.
For sure. Do you hand the map to him?
I don't put my arms anywhere near him. I motion for Suri to give him the map. Suri, I think you should give him your map.
Oh, this is where I wish that I had some sort of way to magic it across rather than having to put my hand.
Mage hand? You wish you had mage hand?
Oh, I do have mage hand. I'll use mage hand. I'm gonna use mage hand to
all right,
send the map across.
The mage hand carries and hands the map to
can
him.
you also hand him this ink and quill for me? I'd rather not put my hand anywhere.
The mage hand delivers the ink and quill to him, and he devours all of them. No, he doesn't devour all of them. He draws 3 triangles on the far left side of the map to the north, and then he circles it and puts an X on it. He says they're there. Then he draws a circle with 3 sharp triangles coming out of it, puts an X on that, and this is south, far south, closer to where you actually landed. He goes, they're also there. And then he draws a large circle around the entire map, a very large X through it. He says, they're also there. And he looks at you. So that adds...
makes no sense, man.
Yeah, and then he writes out the Elvish word for mountain in the dirt. And then he writes out the word spirit on the mud. And then just as he's about to write again, you all hear a loud, piercing wolf howl. It's louder than you've ever heard in your life. And Zira, you notice beyond these fish folk a large, glowing blue light. And it's emanating from beyond the lost colony, and there appears to be about 12 feet across a massive glowing blue wolf's head bobbing up and down and coming through the swamp, bearing down on the settlement. What do you all do?
Well, I think this is all a sign for us to go inside, perhaps have a good meal, and leave whatever.
I grab Shuri and practically carry her inside the closest building I can get into.
Okay, most of the buildings, the walls have been knocked down, the doors have been knocked off, but you want to take everyone into what looks to be the most intact settlement?
Well, at least Shuri, because I feel like I'm in. I have to keep her
glowing,
safe.
perhaps not a good sign. We should try to hide, perhaps.
All right. How do you want to approach the? How would you like to approach? Do you want to run straight way? Do you want to go stealthily? How would you like to do it?
So do we think that this wolf head has noticed us yet?
You're not too sure, but you most definitely heard it scream. And let's go ahead and have a perception check by everyone in the group.
God.
Zara, you're going to do it with disadvantage, and Suri, you're going to do it with disadvantage.
Oh, you're not using your critical fail for me yet?
No, not yet.
Damn.
We're gonna pick a fun time for that.
I'm still on point with my perception game.
Woo!
Kind of hoping you'd use it for that.
And then Suri. All right. Lair, you notice coming from the other side behind you outside the settlement, 13 large, dark shapes with spears drawn coming down into the settlement. So there's 13 large shapes. They are much bigger than any of the elves you are traveling with. They're also larger than any of the crew members that you recall on the ship.
Oh, perhaps this is the time to run away. And Lair starts running. Lair starts backing up. Lair's backing the hell out.
So Zara, did you take Suri into the largest edifice nearby?
Yeah, the most intact one. That's like,
All right, you notice the man with the spindly hat slams a staff on the ground, and the puddles that were in the mud here in the Lost Colony, the Long Marsh Colony, sink into the earth, and there's alligators with melts on their backs where the puddles used to be. And the fish people are running towards the alligators. And then he calls out, Mobo, Mobo. And the smallest of the fish folk comes forward, and then he points to the building for Mobo to follow you into the building. So he is commanding one of the fish folk to stay with you, and the rest seem to mount on these alligators, and they are trying to hightail out of it. Lair, what do you do?
Yeah. So Lair's the only one backing out of this place, right?
You're the only one. Okay, so do you want to go back the way you came? Do you want to try to find a different way out? Do you want to run in a direction that's different than the 13 large dark figures?
Goes and hides behind the rock with the biting guy. Protect me.
No, I mean, I guess do I see them mounting up on their alligators?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm gonna run back towards the entrance, but find a place where I can have a good view of what's about to happen and hide.
All right. Do you want to stealth it, or do you just want to run as fast as you can? Are you going to try to go as quietly as possible without drawing attention to yourself, or as quickly as possible? So quietly or quickly?
He's going to go quietly.
All right. Make a stealth check.
11.
No, unfortunately, it was a crit fail, and you tumble headfirst in the mud.
Oh.
And with that, you notice spears thrown in your direction. 2 spears hit and pierce fishfolk people, knocking them off of their alligators. And let's see if one hits you. So, what's your armor class?
Yep, that hits. 13 is my armor class.
All right. So,
Wow.
9 points.
Oh, and I'm unconscious again.
No.
Down you go. Flares down.
Down the bard goes
Flares
again.
down. All right, Zara, you and Suri notice a large, it's almost like if you're familiar with, like, say, a Chinese dragon, the body, but with the head of a wolf, glowing with blue electricity, goes flying past the front of the edifice you are in. And it's large, massive, about 30 feet long, you would have to guess. And it goes flying into the village past you. What do you wish to do?
I look around. Is Stefania still with us?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
She's in the building with you.
Okay. I just, sorry, stay in here for just a moment, all right? And Stefania, keep an eye out. I'm going to climb up onto the roof, see if what I can see. Just, you have to stay in here for now, all right? And I'm going to try to climb up onto whatever part of the building I can get up onto.
All right, you climb up. You don't need to make a check. You're pretty good at getting up, and you notice and you see this massive creature letting out piercing howls that seem to be frightening the fish folk away. Some of the fish folk, you see their bodies dead. They've been speared down, and you see large individuals. They almost look like wolves themselves moving through the village, and they're attempting to spear down fish folk, and you see Lair's unconscious body face down in the mud. And a donation from Riceball Gaming. He donates. Lair needs to survive, and Lair, you get a 1d10 heal.
I think that diplomatic immunity is, working out for me. And thank you, Riceball Gaming, for being the only one who appears to love me. And that is a 10 on my heal.
Woo,
so I am back to full health again.
Woo!
And you see him. He just
I jump up. Oh, what happened?
As if the gods themselves have shined down upon him. From the darkened skies. And now, Zara, you notice some of these large, garbed in wolf-skinned individuals look up, and they see you. What do you do?
Is there any misty shadows or anything around me, or is it just like clear sky?
There's the the sky itself is quite dark, and
but
if the sun was there, it would be dropping and almost gone. It's pretty dark. With that said, they most definitely see you. You could go back into the edifice, or you could attempt to take them head on. You could risk it.
No, I trust Stefania to look after Suri. I'm actually gonna hop down and try to get fucking Lair out of there, because dear God.
I'm good. I'm all right. What happened? I'm definitely okay.
So I'm gonna hop down and run towards Lair.
All right. Now that Stefania and Suri have been left alone with Mobo, the fishman, Mobo reaches to take Suri's hand. Do you let him take it?
Yes.
All right, he takes and he motions for you to run with him. Do you run with him?
Yes.
All right, he seems to be taking you out, and Stefania is following with you. Let's see if any of you get hit by fish folk.
Five.
What's your armor class, Suri?
My armor class is 12.
You get hit with the 20. Mobo does not get hit, and Stefania also gets hit. So you take 5 points of piercing damage as you are javelined by the spears. Stefania takes 7 points of damage. Stefania is down. She's actually unconscious. She got hurt by the mimic. So she drops. All right, Zara and Lair, what do you wish to do? You see these large individuals coming in to the village. They have their spears. They're ready to attack. I get it. Javelined by the spears. Was either a javelin or a spear. Sorry, chat. Will makes this look so easy. I can Dungeons and Dragons, yo.
I guess do we see Suri running away, and do we see Stefania going down, or?
Oh yeah, you definitely see. You see Stefania get speared and drop. You definitely see Suri running off with Mobo.
I think Lair is going to run to Stefania, and he's gonna place a hand on her, and he's going to he's gonna sing some healing into her.
She can't complain
Hush,
about
little
your
Stefania, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird.
She totally.
If that
gives you the
mockingbird
middle
don't sing, I'm gonna
finger.
break its neck.
All right, how much healing?
Unconscious.
Give me 1 sec. I'm using Cure Wounds.
Okay.
So that is. Did it not roll?
I don't see it.
Why is it not rolling? Let me just click on this. Okay, apparently it doesn't. Oh, there we go. Ha. It'd help if I chose the level.
Cool.
10 points of healing.
All right, she takes that 10 points of healing and she, gets up. She's like, rolls her eyes, but she thanks you sincerely. And, she second guess. She's like, I shouldn't have rolled my eyes. In fact,
Yes, that was rather quite rude. But first, perhaps we should run. Let us get out of here.
All right, so everybody make an athletics check to run away.
Oh boy.
And this is why I'm near the back. Yeah, I'm fine. Claire, why?
Well, this just continues the plight of Angus, because I didn't roll well on that show either. Ever.
I take it you don't have an armor class higher than and she didn't do well either. So,
I feel like I'm getting Dit's punishment.
yeah. So, Lair, you are falling behind and you take 10 points of damage, dude.
Are you serious?
Are you down? Sorry, you take 5 points of damage. How are you doing on hit points?
I'm down.
You're down.
Yeah.
I am very
No.
aware of everything that happens to me.
Stefania's hit as well. Yeah, oof. Poor girl.
I think this is the TPK. I mean the TPK.
Mobo is missed because he's an NPC, right? And then Zara, you see your friends just being speared down, and you notice you're starting to get surrounded, even though you're making it out. That wolf spirit is going back into the woods, and you notice, these 13 individuals. They have their spears drawn and pointed at you. And they're shouting at you. They're shouting at you in a dead tongue, a language you've never heard before. What do you do? And you notice they seem to be dressing the wounds of a few of them are dressing the wounds of Suri and Lair and Stefania. It doesn't seem like they want to kill them. More like they want to capture them.
Even though I was running away, if I saw Suri go down, I was immediately to her side, so I'm right next to her unconscious body. getting attended to by these people.
Okay.
So I have like one hand on my sword, the other one kind of just out, just like I'm surveying everybody.
They point to your sword and they point to the ground, almost as motioning. You understand. They're telling you to throw your weapon down.
Goddamn.
You see the look in their eyes is a look of respect and almost reverence
Towards
you. Like they view you as an equal. However, they would like you to acknowledge that they do have the upper hand and they are in position to make demands.
I look at all of them. Take out the sword. Drop it.
All right. You don't see the Wolf Tribe member come from behind and bound your eyes and blindfold you.
They only need to blindfold one eye.
The rest of you are... Oh, yeah, because you're one-eyed reed. Oh, my goodness. They just move it. Yeah, they take the eye patch and move it to the other eye. No, yeah, they definitely blindfold you. And essentially, they take you on a long journey. Now, the rest of you are unconscious during it. You feel like you've been walking for a long time, but there's almost like a protective feel, a reverent feel emanating from these individuals. Not a malicious one, but almost as if they're simply doing a duty. And a few hours pass, and the rest of you, you're led, and you can feel the surface beneath your feet change from the mush of a marsh to solid stone. You hear howls of wolves echo through what can only be caves. It's dank and it's dark, and your hood is removed, and you find yourself and the party in a cell. The cell's of decent size. You know, it's about 130 square feet. You know, it's 10 by 10 by 10, 10 by 13. There's a ceiling, and in the corner of the cell is a dwarf. And you have not seen a dwarf in a very long time. There were none on the ship, and he sits in the corner of the room. And the rest of you awaken from your unconsciousness. What do you do?
I immediately go up to the...
This is the worst looking bedroom I've ever seen.
Yeah, I go up to Story. I'm like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like taking her head. I'm like turning it around, checking to see if there's any. I'm
fine. I'm fine. I just... Do people seriously live like this?
I don't believe this is where we're living per se, as we are captives. And I turn to the dwarf.
I've never been captured before.
Yes, it's not a good thing.
Sorry, do you have dark vision?
I don't think so.
All right, so if you don't have dark vision, you notice too. It's pitch black, and your eyes haven't adjusted. Zara, you can see, but everything's clearly. You can just make out contrast, no colors. You see the stout dwarf in the corner of the cave, who's sitting there. And Lair is still unconscious and sleeping for the moment.
So it's this dwarf. So we're in a cell. Is the dwarf like outside the cell, looking like he's got us, or is he in the cell with us?
No, he's definitely in the cell with you.
Okay, I go up to him and I say, "Where are we? Who are you? What is?"
I think what she's trying to say is hi.
He looks and he goes, You're the daughter of the sea captain, aren't you?"
I'm awake. What did I miss? What is this?
I put out a hand.
Slow down, fancy pants. Your elders are speaking here. He goes.
I feel like that's rather unnecessary.
He goes. Hold your tongue. My name is Bors. I am the man-at-arms for Oslo Bush, the Green Guard, Keeper of the Faith, one of the favored 5 of the crown. Who are you? He goes, you I've heard of. You're the daughter of Captain Alvar. You're on the crew of the Seagull, fastest ship in the Navy. But I don't know the rest of you.
Well, let me introduce myself. I am
Lair
Silvertongue.
Lair, you notice Zara has a red streak painted down the front of her face now and a black handprint over it.
I see you've got some new digs there, Zara.
What are you talking about?
Must have happened during the journey, but you notice she's very clearly been marked up.
You've got like paint on your face, like a red line and a big palm print on handprint on your face. Yep.
We'll deal with that later. First of all, so
It's quite dashing.
I don't know if you can even see this,
It's
sorry.
a little intimidating. So
Well, cool, because
Yep.
I'm already intimidating.
just a little bit, but still lovely.
Bors explains, he goes,
Yes.
how long have been here a long time. There's not many of us left. How did you find this place? Well, obviously, looks like the Wolfmen got you.
Yes, well, we are part of a group that have been sent to find you all and to find out what happened to you.
Well, bang up job you've done
dwarf.
finding us.
Well, we found you, didn't we?
Look, I don't know how long we plan to stay here, but all the others, I'll tell you how the routine works. Every few days, a Wolfman. By the way, thank you, Rice Balls Gaming. Yeah, Rice Ball Gaming for the donation, and we'll let you know how this goes. He goes, now, I'm not going to do that with the donation to you, Lair. I like you too much. He goes, every few days, the Wolfmen come down here. They take someone from the cell. That person doesn't come back. So it's probably going to be her next. She's clearly been marked. And there's strange chanting coming from below. And there were 7 of us originally. But now there's just me. They don't seem to want much to do with me. Probably on my account of being a dwarf. What do you plan?
Now that
How
just
should you
seems a little bit
approach this?
racist.
It's highly.
Just a little bit. Well, let's take stock. What do we have on us?
The rock.
I'm assuming they took all our my
You
gear
don't
and
have
everything.
any gear with you. It's all been taken. However, if Zara was wearing armor, she still has it on. And if there's
Cool.
an arcane focus, that's still on Suri. If there's any holy emblems, those are on you as well.
Okay, so the rock from earlier as well, is that likely to still be in my
Oh, yeah,
possession?
you definitely still have your stone.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I still have my armor. So I turned to the dwarf. What do they do with people with this?
Well, I'll tell you this much. They only mark elves, and I honestly can't tell you. I'm a prisoner, and I haven't seen much other than the cell.
Just elves.
Just elves.
Does Stefania also have the mark?
Around.
Oh, she most definitely has the mark as well. Stefania has also been marked with a red streak and a black handprint. But not Lair.
You know, I feel like there's a light bit of racism going on here. Just a little bit. Now, how often are there guards around?
Normally the ones that come are the smaller ones, not the larger ones, as far as the wolf folk are concerned. But I assume there's guards here. This is probably where they live. I mean, you can hear them every now and then rustle about. You can hear the wolf pups. But there's no guards at the gate, not by any means.
Do any of you have a hair? Do any of you have a hairpin?
Stefania does.
My hair's too short for that.
In fact, Stefania has a whole suite of thieves' tools that she reveals from her person.
Lovely. Shall you or shall I?
She says, I'll be doing my own thieves' toolings, thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead. Thank God.
It doesn't take her very long, but she does spring the lock. She goes, now, do I understand? Are we attempting a jailbreak?
Well, I see no reason to stay here.
She looks at Zara and she goes, I don't see a reason to stay here either, but I do see a reason for us to escape. And she points to the handprints and the streaks, and she's like, we probably want to get out of here.
We do, but if this has something to do with our mission, I feel like we could make a tiny detour, see what's happening.
Boris says, what's the full extent of your mission?
Well, we're supposed to find out what happened to your group, I should say. And as a bonus, perhaps, what happened to this colony that seemed very not inhabited.
You know, one of the 5 was here with us, but they took him down about a week ago. Sir Alistair Thornrose. Holy man. Holy knight. And that dog-faced hyena of his, what's his name? Grimtooth, Grimhook, Scrimshaw.
Huh.
Knack Grimhook. His squire of sorts. For viewers at home, that Null is played by Will Jones.
Well, now when you say taken down, do you mean like killed or?
I don't know what they do with them once they take them out of here. But if we're going, we're springing them locks. We better move fast.
Yes, I do agree. We should get moving.
Do I see if any of our supplies or any of our weapons are
not nearby?
God damn it.
All right. Well, so I guess Blair's going to step out of the jail door or whatever, the cell door.
Are you leading the way?
Where do I stand hit point wise?
You are all fully recovered hit point wise.
Oh,
you all have the benefits of what would constitute a long rest.
Oh, lovely.
After being knocked out.
Oh, they tended to your wounds as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I still have my God-given weapon of my voice. I'm going to take a look around and see what the situation. So is there I'm just looking around the room. What's our situation outside of the cell?
All right. As you look out down the cell, you see faint orange glow about 200 feet down at the end of a long hallway, and it does look like the cave branches off to the right. There's definitely a small chasm that you would need to step over on the other side of the cell door. You see that it drops into that chasm about what looks like a good 150 feet. It's just a deep sinkhole. Or you are free to proceed forward. But what do you do given this information?
Suri, what do you think we should do? You tend to be the navigator.
Can she even see?
No, not at all.
Oh, I untie her. Are we bound?
No. She
Oh.
No,
can't
you are
see.
not
It's
bound.
pitch
can't
black.
see. I can't see a thing.
It's pitch black. You know, I totally forgot about that. You know, you grow up having dark vision, and well, it's just here, Suri.
Stick me in the water and I'm at home.
Yep. Nope, nothing that can help this situation.
I mean, I could use a cantrip of mine, dancing lights.
You could, for sure. Would you like to?
Yes, I'll use dancing lights.
All right. So, do you want to do 3 separate orbs, or do you want them to be combined into the roughly humanoid
like-
shape?
I feel like we should go for 3 separate orbs. I feel like it's a little bit less conspicuous than like, hey, here's a big bright light as we're trying to sneak around.
Alrighty. You do the separate orbs. What is there any particular color you would like to make them?
Blue.
All right. They are blue lights. And how close do you want them to float towards the party? Do you want them to be behind you, adjacent to you, ahead of you?
Behind us. So we can kind of I can just see ahead where my feet are going, but not anything where it's drawing too much attention to us.
All right. And then I'll ask the party, do you want to go quietly or quickly?
Well, do I, Grant? Oh,
Yes.
DM. Do I hear activity close to us? Like, do I hear any? Do my elf ears hear?
Yeah, elf ears.
Legolas, what do your elf ears hear?
Here's here.
No, they've
Hear,
actually
hear.
melted wax into them, so you can't hear a thing. No.
That would be so brutal.
Make a perception check for me.
All right. Just want to make sure there's nobody like right outside. Nope,
Not at all.
that's an 8. So
Yeah, you're like, you hear the loud breathing of Bors the dwarf, who seems to be struggling, like it's labored, but you don't really perceive anything else other than that. So, with that said, can we confirm marching order? Lair's in the front.
Yes.
Who's in the back? Bors is in the back, I assume. The
Being in the
dwarf.
back has not worked out for me so far.
No.
So
So Bors actually stops the party. He reaches under his shirt and pulls out 3 daggers. Who do you want to have them?
I definitely.
Sorry?
I definitely grab one.
All right, Zara takes one. Suri takes one. Lair, do you take one as well? Or do you
Lair
want
takes one if
Stefania?
he's gonna. Lair's gonna take one if he's walking in front.
All right.
And I'm like, well, perhaps we should go the way that we're pretty. So you said it was to the right that there was that big chasm we had to cross.
It's not even. It's just deep. It's actually, 2.5 foot rift on the other side of the gate, but it's pretty easy for all of you to just step over. But you do see that this place goes down deep. So my next question is: do you want to continue down the hall straight, or do you want to take a right when the cave branches off that way?
Well, sorry.
Right, I was just thinking like which way would be north. Am I able to tell which one seems more north due, since I can always...
Straight is north.
Do we want to just keep going straight? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I don't really
All
remember
right,
much.
straight it is then.
All right. You continue on your way straight. Lair, are you still the point man?
I am still the point man.
Did you decide on quickly or quietly? Can you remind me?
I think we should go quietly.
Make a stealth check for me.
All of us?
Just him.
Oh, just him. All right.
17.
All right. How far ahead of the group do you walk?
I'm probably not too far ahead. I think maybe like 10, 15 feet ahead. Enough that if we were to round a corner, I would have a moment to stop them or whatnot. But
All right.
not so far away that I can't quickly help them or have them.
You notice about 30 feet ahead of you as you go deeper, and you notice two older-looking members of the wolf tribe, and they're wearing dark gray skins, and they are kind of bickering about how they feel this kind of work is beneath them, but you're pretty sure they are in fact the guards of this area. So you see two of them.
All right. I look back at our group and I motion, put 2 point, making all sorts of nonsensical motions.
2 words for
First syllable. Sounds like movie.
And you said they
sounds
look,
like movie.
You said they look older?
Oh, they're definitely clearly older. Still large in stature, but they both appear to have great swords, and they seem to be mildly on the lookout. What do you do?
So do they have their backs to us, though?
They definitely don't notice you're there.
Okay.
Their backs are to a wall. You wouldn't be sneaking up beside them, but they could see you if their heads turn to the right.
Turn to the right. Okay. What I am going to do is I'm going to look at Zara. I'm going to motion with my dagger at the one closest to us. I'm going to make either a knocking out motion or a shivving in the kidney motion. Either one of those works. And then I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers on the one furthest from us.
All right, so I believe with that spell, they need to make a save, correct?
Yep. Wisdom saving throw.
All right.
Please.
Yeah. So Grant, if I see them like this, would I still have any accessories that I normally wear on me?
Like what?
Like a beaded headband.
For sure.
Okay. I'm first because their backs against the wall, so I can't get very disadvantaged.
They don't make their save.
Okay. He's going to be. He hears a discordant a humming in his ear, the very creepy, and he is suddenly racked with pain as he takes 14 psychic damage, and he has to use all immediately as a reaction, all movement to get away from me, which means the other way.
Interesting to note, he doesn't know where you are. And I would almost rule that if anyone who wants to throw a dagger at him as an attack of opportunity, almost as he's fleeing, can do that, or can take a reaction to snipe him as he's running off with surprise. And then Zara, were you going to? This is essentially a surprise round for you guys. You guys, as a party, snuck up pretty well on them.
Okay.
Do you want to take an attack?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna charge the one that Blair kind of pointed at for me to attack.
Okay.
And just leap up onto him and try to stab him right at the base of the neck, kind of deal, if I can get there. If not, just wherever my dagger reaches. So I'm gonna have to find daggery things, but if I'm using it as a how much D20 plus and because I'm using it as a strength weapon, that's fine, right?
Sure.
It's the same either way. I just realized it's
yes.
That hits, right?
You definitely hit.
And how much damage is a dagger? Because I don't have one.
It'll be 1d4 plus your modifier.
Okay. All right. 4 points of damage.
4 points of damage.
Woo!
Sorry, do something.
Lair Boars hands you a vial, a potion. Uses his action. He goes, in case you need it. You recognize it as a vial of poison. Don't
right.
drink it. It's bad. Just in case this fight goes bad, just down. That'll take you out. That'll end the misery. Suri, what would you like to do with your action?
I would like to try and take advantage of that dagger throw that you mentioned.
Yes.
And she's going to do her best, kind of like.
Okay, yeah, you can throw you can throw the dagger, or I'll let you use an attack spell if you'd like. Either or.
I'm gonna throw it.
at the same one that was hit with the dissonant whispers, or the other one.
So I'm attacking the one that doesn't have dissonant whispers.
Correct.
And the dissonant whispers one is trying to run.
All right, let's do the one that's trying to run the dissonant whispers one.
All right. So go ahead and make an attack.
Okay.
I have a feeling.
It's a whip.
that face. That face
click,
was
click, click.
Yeah, it misses.
The knife is just stuck in the wall behind it. You're like, oh.
You notice coming up behind you, coming out of what appeared to be the right corridor that you avoided. Yeah, there's two smaller wolves being walked by two younger looking individuals, and they come out of the hallway. So,
Right.
yes.
Run!
So, everybody, go ahead and roll initiative for me.
Okay. It wasn't my nat one, so yay.
You're all going before them. Let's start with Suri. What would you like to do with your action?
With my action, I think at this point Suri is going to try and see if she can. I think she wants to see if there's like another exit as part of what she does, but for the most part, I think she'll just Ray of Frost. Ray of Frost.
All right. So thank you to Isreaver for the donation.
I don't trust Isreaver.
Go ahead, Isreaver. Go ahead and make your attack roll, Suri. That's a hit. Go ahead, roll damage. And I believe they will be slowed as a result.
Cool. The damage on Ray of Frost is 1d8, yeah? Yeah. Cool. Come on. Not too bad.
Yeah, that's a good amount of damage. Now, Lair, the one you did hit with the dissonant whispers is running down the corridor. They're essentially, if you can picture, it's kind of a... they're in the corner. It branches off to the right. Essentially, they're standing at a dead end. That one's running off to the right. He hasn't... you can't quite see him. There's one left, and then there's the two with the wolves that came in behind you. What would you like to do with your action?
Are there any other cells around us?
No, not at all.
And if we go past the guards we just attacked, is there just more hallway that way, from what I can see?
If you go past the guards, there's essentially a dead end, and then it dips to the right.
All right. I'm like, I think it may be time to get out of here. And Lair is going to start running after the creature he cast Dissonant Whispers on. He's only gonna
chase him down, run him down.
He's gonna he's going to run his normal movement, and then he's gonna call after the one running away. You look like a dog and you smell like one too, and he's casting vicious mockery.
All right, and then he has to make a savings throw.
Another
on that,
wisdom
correct?
saving throw.
All right.
I don't know if that's a.
No, he fails.
I don't know if that's
Alright.
an insult as much as it's just an observation.
He gets
Like-
the tone of my voice. That is a 1 point of damage, but he does have disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes
All right.
before the end of
So-
his next turn.
Zara, it is
Yeah.
your turn.
Yeah, well, I'm on top of one of them, right?
Run away, run away.
So basically, I'm gonna take this guy, try to swivel my weight so I can just take his head and just smash it into the wall, knock him out, just dizzy him, anything. I just need to
All right. So
incapacitate him for a sec.
go ahead and make an athletics roll, essentially.
As you're doing this, you see Lair's running by you. Run away, run away, run away!
Yeah. That's
All
a
right.
22.
You bash his head into the wall, and he takes more points of damage. Now, two wolves, one jumps at boars and manages to it manages to hit boars, and the other one jumps at Lair. I believe Lair gets hit for 7 points of damage. Dun-dun-dun. You are also knocked prone by the wolf, and the two younger looking wolf tribe members draw their short swords, and one attacks Suri, sorry, and the other one attacks Zara. What is both of your armor classes?
I'm at a 14, so that just hits.
Okay. So you're both hit. Zara, you take 7 points of slashing damage, and
I'm still fine.
Suri, you take 6 points of slashing damage. As they slash into Suri, you notice Mobo drops from the ceiling, and
Oh,
he wraps his Mobo arms around one of the tribe's members' necks and starts strangling and snapping it. You know,
Mobo!
there's a little bit Mobo action
Yay,
Mobo
on
for
him,
the win!
dropping on him, and he is violently defending you as a group. Boars manages to wrestle a wolf tribe member to the ground, and Stefania, she manages to stab and kill one of the guards. You hear one of the wolf pups, the one who attacked Lair, howl very loudly. What would you all like to do? We're back at the top of initiative.
all right. So that would be Suri is top.
Yep. Well, at this point, Suri is very, very hurt. She only has 1 HP left. So at this point, she's probably going to use any action she can to just kind of back up and get herself into a corner or something.
Okay.
With-
Lair, can you make a perception check for me?
Indeed I can.
Yes.
Indeed a doodles. That is a 16, still on point.
You notice 3 guards and a white-robed woman come into the corridor as well, and the woman seems to be shouting for it to stop. Before that happens, though, what would you like to do for your action? And Zara, what would you like to do for yours?
I'm immediately grabbing one of those swords.
Oh yeah, you just pick up the great sword. It's like, haha!
Wait, nope. I need a weapon. That's not a dagger.
Larry's just gonna keep mocking this guy in front of him as he runs after. Your bark is worse than your bite.
You're running.
And I'm running after.
All right.
He's gonna make another wisdom saving throw.
All right. Let's make that wisdom saving throw.
I'm just being super mean to this guy.
He doesn't make it. Do your damage.
Give me another 1d4.
Yeah, so practically I'm grabbing the sword and immediately
That's another one.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Zara, are you going in for the kill, or how are you doing it?
So which ones are around me? Well, there's the one that
Okay.
I kind of just smashed the head in.
Yeah,
But-
there's that one where you've broken his cabase, and he looks like he's dropping unconscious. But you also notice that so there's 3 large individuals, a white-robed woman, 2 younger wolf tribe members, and then there's 2 wolf pups. So there's a pretty sizable force, and one is commanding you in the common tongue to cease combat. She's speaking common, which is the first time you've heard it in a long time.
I'm just stepping in front of Suri and just kind of blocking her
Okay.
from view and just staring down this woman.
She explains, she says, and she points, she says, those 2, she points at Zara and Stefania. She goes, will come with me. And the
Keep
rest of you will
running
live. Lair, do you want to keep running?
I don't think you. How loudly did she shout in common?
You don't hear her.
I don't hear her. Okay, I'm still running then.
right.
I'm still mocking this dude.
All right, we'll pause that. So she says, if those 2 come with me, I require them. The rest of you will not be harmed. And with that,
Yeah.
we're going to end the adventure.
Ugh.
Her request of Will, 5 minutes early. But what do you guys think? It's first adventure of Brave New Worlds.
Whoa!
Just a bit action packed.
I don't know about you guys. I'm feeling like Lair is way out of his league right now. Just he went down 3 times.
It's, well, being surrounded by these, the chat, Brave New Wounds. So why don't you let the audience know where we can find each of you online, starting with Kiana?
Oh, hey, this was super fun. I'm very excited to see how this goes. It's fun to play a character like I am. That's just like, let's just fun. So yeah, you can find me online on Twitter, which I will pull up the link for in the chat, at twitter.com/KianaS, where you can kind of just see me talk about all sorts of things, including D&D. And you can also find me on my D&D blog, Dungeons, as in I'm done with this, and Dragons, where I chronicle everything that I do, D&D wise, outside of Encounter Roleplay. So you can catch me up on there and see how my crazy adventures go.
Lair, why don't you let us know where we can find you?
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Imperator Pengu. You can also find me on Twitch. I stream some sort of Dungeons and Dragons every Tuesday night. Every other night, I'm the one running the session. I also, on an unregular basis, run another campaign early in the morning for any of you getting up at 8 a.m. EST. If you follow my Twitter, you'll get the announcement the night before for that. But yeah, I hope things can only go up, right?
And Madam Gandalf.
Hello, I am Madam Gandalf. You may know me as Madam Gandalf, and you can find me everywhere as Madam Gandalf. Even that really, really bad fan fiction that you might find if you do a Google, yeah, that's even mine. So yeah, I am a variety streamer here on Twitch. I stream anything from cooking to pub quizzes to a multitude of different games, and also starting soon a little bit of D&D as well. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter as Madam Gandalf too. Just a lot of Madam Gandalf.
Well, next week we'll have Anna and Will joining us, and their characters will be introduced in the party. Their characters are already here in the lair of the Wolf Tribe. And I look forward to playing with you guys again. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
and
you,
where can
Will,
we
for
find you,
hosting-
Grant?
Oh, you can find me
Yeah.
as Wise Papa Grant on Twitter, and every now and then I stream on Twitch, Grant R. Ellis. You can actually find some of even I do adventure prep and design live dungeon designing. Likewise, Brave New Worlds will be available in stores Q1 of next year. Thanks again, Will. I know we're essentially at time because the next show's coming in right behind us, but thank you so much, cast. I really enjoyed playing with you guys. I know it was a lot to throw at you on the first day. Kind of a slow start, and then we hit the ground running. So thank